We got more pee-pee jokes on this show at Drake Maverick's expense after he peed himself the night before at Survivor Series when he thought that the Big Show was about to beat him up during the tag team match. Now, I saw a note in the Observer this week that the device that they rigged him up with, to make it look like he urinated on himself, allegedly didn't work, or it malfunctioned. Something happened. And there was a belief by some backstage that he actually may have had to pee his pants for real at the pay-per-view to sort of save the spot and make it work. Imagine coming to WWE, the biggest promotion in the world. It's been your dream job for years. All your life you've dreamt about coming to work for WWE. You used to be a little kid and you would watch Hulk Hogan in The Ultimate Warrior and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and you had dreams to be that person one day. And now you're finally here, and you have to piss yourself on live television. I don't even mind them doing comedy. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing they're doing comedy with Drake Maverick, because that's what he was doing at Impact. And I thought he was very entertaining in Impact in that role. The stuff with him and EC3, when he was Dixie Carter's chief of staff or whatever his title was. Rockstar Spud was a comedy character. That is what he is good at. I have no issue with them doing funny stuff with him. I would have rather they waited, frankly, to call up EC3 and put him back together with Drake Maverick. Whether he's a manager for him or whatever, I would rather they hook the two of them back up because they were a very entertaining combo. They still could do that, by the way. So making fun of him is fine. That's not the issue here. But the whole piss thing is just a Vince McMahon specialty. He loves bathroom humor. Farting and shitting and pissing and vomiting. Oh, he loves it. How many times have we seen that on his show over the years? Remember when Booker T threw up on Michael Cole? He loves that kind of humor. Because he's 5 years old, going on 75. And what makes it worse, and here's the other issue I have with this. What makes it worse is that they put this guy with the Authors of Pain. Now look, I'm not going to sit here and say to you that the Authors of Pain were an exciting act in NXT. They were my favorite act in NXT. They weren't. They weren't. But they were booked as killers. And it worked. They were like silent killers. They had a mouthpiece. They rarely, if ever, spoke themselves. They went out there and they fucking destroyed people. And you know what? It worked. They were sort of the resident road warriors on that show. Especially with Paul Ellering, literally Paul Ellering being their manager. Obviously, it gives you, it sort of harkens back to the days when you had a dominant team like LOD. And that was the role they played in NXT, and it worked. And now you look at these two guys, and they're a joke. Rude and Gable got a fluke win on this show over AOPP. Oh yes, the crowd started an AOPP chant, which Michael Cole was sure to point out. Now Rude and Gable are getting a tag team championship match on Raw tomorrow night. Maybe they can have a pissing contest. A literal pissing contest. The Lucha House Party beat the Revival. Oh, this train rolls on. The Lucha House Party beat the Revival. 3-on-2. Good guys had the man advantage over the heels. Great job. They had a piñata out there. This reminded me of 2000s WCW. Piñata on a pole. Viagra on a pole. That wonderful period with you-know-who writing television. And so the Lucha House Party is out here, and they've got the piñata, and Revival lost. They got pinned. Pinned by a piñata. And I said on Twitter, it's ironic that this show has a dead team called the Revival. Electric shock paddles could not bring these two guys back to life. And it is depressing as shit to think about AOPP, and the Revival in NXT. And look at them now. Look at these four guys now. The problem is, Vince McMahon knows nothing of these guys before they get called up. We know, because we have a chance to watch them, those of us who watch NXT and the TakeOver specials, we know about them. Triple H knows. Pepperidge fucking Farm knows. But Triple H knows those characters better than anybody. Vince McMahon, by Triple H's own admission, he doesn't watch NXT. Not week to week. He's not familiar with these characters. He doesn't pay attention to it. He's not invested in those characters the same way that his son-in-law is. But when there's a hole that they need to fill, somebody goes down due to injury, or they're going to do some kind of a roster shakeup, he calls up these guys, and he has absolutely no idea what to do with them. Bobby Roode was this smarmy, elitist heel in NXT. Oh, I know. Let's call him up and make him a babyface. And because his theme song has the word glorious in it, we'll make his gimmick where all this guy does when he comes out is he'll flail his arms around like Val Venus, and he'll say the word glorious over and over and over and over and over again, like Rain Man. And that will be his gimmick. That will be his one-dimensional gimmick. Look at the Authors of Pain. Oh, let's bring these guys up. And I know, on their very first night on television, we'll split them apart from their manager. Remember all those stories about, well, maybe Paul Ellering didn't want to travel, he's getting older, and so it maybe isn't WWE's fault. Paul Ellering came out, he heard these reports, he came out and said, that's bullshit, I love traveling. No, they just said, I don't know if it's because he's old, I don't know, but they said on night number 1, let's split these guys apart from their mouthpiece. We'll take that away from them. And instead, we'll stick our British cruiserweight general manager. We'll put him with them. Because why the hell not? He's half their size, but these guys will be subservient to him. They'll listen to him. They'll take orders from him. For reasons that still haven't been explained. Then we'll shorten their name to just AOP, and now we can make AOPP jokes on television. It's like when Alberto Del Rio came back. A few years ago, that one time he beat John Cena his first night back on that pay-per-view. He won the United States Championship. He came to the ring. He came back that night with Zeb Coulter as his new manager. And all of us kind of looked at each other and said, why the hell would Alberto Del Rio come back with Zeb Coulter as his manager? Because it's something you wouldn't expect. And even Zeb Coulter, he's done shoot interviews, and he said, I have no idea why they put me together with Del Rio. I knew it was going to fail. I don't know why they did what they did. It was never explained to me. Well, if it's not being explained to them, then we should basically just give up any hope of them explaining bullshit like this to us. Even the people involved in these things don't know why these decisions are made. So it failed, and they split them apart shortly thereafter. If this guy is so big on giving people something they least expect, try giving us a good Monday Night Raw every now and then. That would really be unexpected.